So in the menu Edit, Preferences, and you go to the Tools tab, the last tab, Tools, and scroll down to Rip and Print. Here you have the option to check or uncheck the option Connect to Local Production Manager using TCP/IP. What does that mean? By default, this is checked. So when you open the Rip and Print window, the software will look for production managers on the network as well. So if you have multiple production managers installed, or if you have the production manager with the second license installed on another PC, this will be checked as well, needs to be checked. And the software will look for production managers in the network range. 95% of the customers are using the production manager and the Flexi Designer on the same PC, or yes, on the same PC. What I recommend is to uncheck this option. Okay. What it will do, if you send to Rip and Print right now, it will not look for production managers on the network, and it will always find your devices. We had some customers who, whenever they send a print to the Rip and Print, the devices are not visible in the machine list. I think, I don't know if someone in the chat has experience with that. If sometimes if you send a job, tries to send a job to the Rip and Print, the devices are not visible. Anyone had that issue before? Not really, I see. Okay, that's fine. So first of all, that's a useful tip. Also in the Preference tab, the Tools tab, you have the option for the selection tool. So in the Flexi Designer, you have two ways to select objects. The first option is by fully enclosing, and the second one is by touching. I will show the difference with a design. So I'll import a EPS file. So if you import EPS files in Flexi, you will see the file is always masked. So if you want to select the elements of the EPS file, you will have to unmask first. So select the EPS file, right mouse click and select Unmask All. Then you will have to remove the mask. So I select the rectangle and I hit delete. So now I have my EPS file with these separate objects. So what is the difference between the selection by fully enclosing or by touching? So now my drag select is set to by touching. If I now select, for example, this cooking head, and I touch the head, I have to ungroup it first, ungroup. So if I touch the head, it will select everything what touch the selection box. So for example, I want to select these numbers here. See, it just selects everything which crosses the selection box. If you double click the selection tool to change as well the drag select, you can change it to by fully enclosing. then you will have to select. So if you want to select only 77, for example, but not the 9 in the numbers, it will only select all the elements which are fully enclosing. So in this case, it will only select 77, not the 9, as it's not fully enclosed. If I want the 9 as well, I have to drag my selection box to here, like so. Is this a bit clear for everyone? So you can switch the drag select by double clicking the selection tool. This is very helpful if you want to select parts of the design without selecting other parts of the design. Okay, so my personal preference is by fully enclosing. This is just the way I work in the Flexi Designer, but you can always switch to the other one. All right, let's draw something in Flexi using shapes. So by default, these are the toolbars set in Flexi Designer. You can add toolbars by right mouse clicking in the top bar, or you can drag out the icons of the feature you are using. So today I will drag out the rectangle tool. So the shapes, so I have the shapes here. I will drag out the path editor toolbar, like so. You can also set them in the top bar if you like. Okay, but here I want to set the alignment toolbar and the distribute toolbar, like so. If you now close the Flexi Designer, this will the Flexi will save the workspace which you're using, of course. Okay, let's draw an artwork in Flexi, and for today I want to make something very let's say actual. So I want to draw a mud mask, which we are using already for a few months. So how to draw a mud mask easily in Flexi Designer. So we want to make the shape a rectangle shape. So we select the rectangle shape. And what we see is Design Central shows the options to draw the rectangle. So the width, the height, and then the options for the corners, rather rounded corners or regular or other options for the corners. So in this case, I want a rectangle 10 by 5 centimeters. And if I click onto my design, I see the rectangle here. This is the so if you want to save this option or these settings of the rectangle with the color, and you want Flexi to save or remind these options, you can set them by selecting the rectangle tool and change the options already. So let's say 5 by 5 centimeters with a radius of 2 centimeters and red color, for example. And if you then now go back to the shape tool, you'll see if you click into the artwork, it will always be this rectangle. Same for fonts. If you want to set a default font, select the text tool, select, for example, Arial rounded with a height of 3 centimeters, for example. And if you then go back to the selection tool, go back to the text tool, select text, by default, the Arial rounded font will be set. And of course in red, because this was also selected. So sometimes people complain that if they start typing text or using the text tool, the color, for example, is white, they can't see the words, or the font is too small. So to change the default settings of shapes or text, just select the shape tool, for example, set the settings, set the color without drawing the rectangle already, and then you can just click and set the and draw the shapes. Okay, so we have the base of the mouth mask. Okay, I'll zoom in a bit. We can still change the corner options, going to Design Central and select the rectangle tab. And here we can adjust the corner radius, or we can also adjust the corner radius by clicking the white point in the corner and then just drag it manually, like so. Okay, so this looks okay. We want to make the mask, the mouth mask, a bit more realistic. What can we do is use the path editor, select the Make Arc tool. So Make Arc. First, we have to convert. Very important tip. If you want to adjust the anchor points of the shape, you will have to go to Arrange and convert the shape to outlines. So Arrange, convert to outlines. Okay. And then we can select the Make Arc tool. You'll see the arc will appear here, the anchor. You can click and move it to the top, like so. Same at the bottom, like so. Now we want to add small bands here for the mouth masks. We can select the oval tool. I keep pressing Shift, so it's proportional. Okay. I want to make an outline, so an inline, outline, effects, outline. As well, in Design Central, we have the options for the outline, like so. We don't want the original black. No, I was wrong. Effects, outline, we need the original, apply, okay. And if we now want to exclude the black part and the red parts, we just have to right mouse click and separate the outlines, select them both and hit Ctrl M. Or we can use, I'll add an extra toolbar here. Do Ctrl Z, or you can use the cutout option in the combine toolbar. So cutout, so you have the bands here. Okay, I align them, I copy them easily with holding Ctrl Shift. So Ctrl Shift will copy elements on the same y-axis or x-axis, like so. We group them together to center them. So group, then I select my mask and the bands, and I'll vertical center them, like so. So we have our mount mask here. I want to make a sign of it, so I'll select this rectangle tool again. I want to make it 20 centimeters, for example, like so. I want to order it to the back, so right mouse click, order to back. Again, center them in the, I want to make this yellow, for example. Okay, group this. See, this is what I mean by the selection tool. I just want to select the mask and not the yellow background. So what I do is I select the selection tool by fully enclosing, and I can just drag and select the mount mask. If you select by touching drag selection, now my yellow background will be selected as well, as it touched my selection box. So in this case, I want to use by fully enclosing, select this, Ctrl G for grouping, select the sign, select the mount mask, and put center, or Ctrl 5. Well, now my mount mask is perfectly centered into my yellow background sign. To make it a bit bigger, using Ctrl Alt, I'm scaling the objects proportionally and out of the center. So with Ctrl Alt, center out of the center. And I want to add text. Is their mask. Okay. Center this as well. I want to align it in the center. Okay, this is possible in the 4-tab paragraph. Then you have some text tool options. First of all, if you click once on the text, you have the option to scale. If you double click, you have the option to rotate the text. Holding Shift will rotate by 45 degrees. But then you also have triple click, and then you can move or adjust the line spacing of the text. So for example, like so. Also, you can adjust the tracking of the letters, like so. In this case, this looks okay. We just center it. Maybe a bit more. So, like so, and we want to make where a bit smaller. Let's make this black. We only want to make the where white and smaller as well. Like so. Voila. So in a few clicks, we have created our own please wear mask sign, of course. We can add a cut contour around the sign in Effects, Contour Cut. We can adjust the contour cut manually, so for example inside the sign, or we can adjust it in the Design Central in the Offset section. I hit Apply. Okay. Is there anything, are there any questions about this? It's all clear. Perfect. So imagine I want to change the rectangle to a circle shape. You can easily go to switch from between rectangle and circle. First of all, we have to, so we can try this, go into arrange. Let's see, arrange, and then convert to shape. Here we click circle, and what it does, it will convert the rectangle to a circle shape, like so. I can copy this. I can go back to arrange, convert rectangle, and it's converted to rectangle again. So this is a very practical, you don't have to redraw the object. You can just go to arrange, convert to shape, and convert the shape to a rectangle, for example. Okay. So in a few steps, we have our sign created with the just with shapes and text. I want to show you another example of the shape tool. So I'll make this a bit smaller. Okay, and I'll import a bitmap. So I found this bitmap of the sushi bar, but as you can see, this is very... So I have a question from Frederick in the chat regarding the conversion of shapes. So does the conversion to shape work with cut lines too? Let's see if we can make this arrange contour cut make. So this is a contour cut now, arrange, convert to shape, oval. So this will also work with cut lines. Yes. Let's try it in the practical example with the contour cut. Okay. I separate them from each other. I select them both, arrange, convert to shape, oval. And the cut contour will also change to the circle shape. Like so. Very useful. Okay, next, the sushi logo. We have the very pixelated bitmap here. With bitmaps, I would recommend to use the vectorize option. But in this case, the bitmap is too pixelated and the resolution is too low. So we need to redraw this. It's very easy. I want to show you in a few steps. So we want to recreate this sushi. Here it's a bit 3D model. Yeah, but it looks difficult, but it's very easy in Flexi. So first I want to select the oval tool and I set the oval 10 by 5 centimeters, for example, like so. I'll step and repeat this oval in the arrange tab. So arrange, step and repeat. And I just want to copy one oval like so without spacing. Hit apply. Okay. And then I'll select the rectangle tool, and I'll make this one also 10 by 5 without rounded corners. Regular, okay. Select both ovals, select the rectangle, and hit Ctrl 5, like so. I ungroup the ovals. I need one oval, so I'll drag this to the right. I select all my objects and I hit Weld. I see someone in the chat, Vasil, I don't see and hear nothing. Is the audio still okay? Can you guys hear me? Okay, then think, Vasil, it's you have to check your audio settings. I'm sorry. So I selected, did I combine it already or not? Yes. So I select all the elements and I hit Weld. Okay, so now this is a this is one object now. I can switch the color to black. I can't refresh the webinar. Sorry, Vasil. I will try to now. I don't know. It's still, is the audio still okay? Ah, okay. Perfect, Nico, thank you. So we have here the black object. I have the copy of my oval, like so, and I will make it a bit smaller, like so, and make it white. I want to make a new copy as well, in red. And I want to create those lines here. Those are arc lines. So what we can do is select the fan tool here, fan tool, draw the fan, holding shift, like so. Okay. And here in the design central, we have the fan tab, the third tab. And then we can just edit the fan by selecting the top anchor point, like so, make it smaller, for example, and then make it bigger, like so. Okay. We want this to be a circle first. Say 10 by 10. And then we align this with some copies, like so. Make this white. Okay. Maybe a bit bigger. So, and the only thing is we want to remove the parts which are out of the red object. So we can select the separate overlap tool here, and we can just delete the parts which are overlapping, like so. So now we have the shape here. We can group it together. And now we just have to fit it in the white oval. So we can copy the width of the oval, like so, to the red object. Then center it, make it smaller, like so. select everything, make the dim sum more flat, the sushi, like so, and group it together. Now we have to rotate it. So we double click, rotate with Shift. We make copies with Control and Shift, like so. Now we want the spacing between the 3 copies the same. So we select all 3 objects and we select in the Distribute toolbar the Distribute Horizontal Center, like so. So now the spacing between the copies is the same. So in the Distribute tab, Distribute Horizontal Center. We add a black line at the bottom. With some rounded corners. In black. Like so. We want to add the chopsticks as well. So this is just a rectangle with the one side smaller than the other side. So we can just draw a rectangle. Rounded corners. Like so. And then we want to make one side smaller than the other. So make it a bit smaller first. We convert to outlines in Arrange. And we go to the Path Edit toolbar, to the Selection Point tool. Select this one, make it smaller. So I just use my arrow keys now to make it smaller. Like so. I'll make my shape black. I'll order it to the back, send to back. I'll rotate my chopstick. Make a copy. Rotate. Like this, okay, and then we add the text. Sushi bar, align it in the center, make it black, align it in the center, like so. And we have in a few steps a vectorized sushi bar logo, just using the shapes and the text tool. Okay, are there any questions about that? No questions. So imagine our customer wants stickers. We want to make an oval tool. Okay. We want to make this white add an effect, shadow, make it black, okay. Group this, scale it in the sticker, order it to the top, to the front, like so, and we just have to separate the shadow, make this black and a wireframe. Like so, we can preview the stickers for the customer, for example. Voila. So I think, so next question, and when you give the contour cut, the plotter cut 2 lines on the outside. In which design, Lex? For this design? Okay, when you want to cut this one, you have a few options. So, for example, you just set a cut contour inside the circle shape with the option effects contour cut. So hit apply. Okay. So now when you send this job, it will print the black circle and it will cut inside the circle. Okay. So this is my tip to you guys. If you print stickers with a white background, set a line as well, a black line around your circle, and set the cut contour inside your artwork. So afterwards, if you print the file and cut it, you can see if the cutter cuts correctly inside the circle or not. If you only you would send this to the printer, so only the contour cut, you won't see the black circle around your design. So you will only see the sushi bar logo. It will cut fine, but you won't see if it's accurate or not. Lex, it always cuts 2 lines. If you send me your file to support, we can have a look together. For example, with TeamViewer, maybe something is wrong with the settings. We can always have a look. Maybe there are 2 cut contours in the file, for example. I have another question from Chris. How can you make shadow fade out? So that's also a possibility. So I'll remove this, make it white. Okay. Effects, shadow. And you have the option to make transparent. So transparent in black. Okay. And now you have a faded out result, let's say. See? Then you can just separate them, make this black, and add the white, like so. Is the shadow inside or outside the circle? In this case, it's outside the circle. Now it's laying behind. You can also set and change the shadow options. in the Design Central. In the Options tab, you can change the opacity and the blur amount of the transparent shadow. This will be a bitmap. If the shadow, yes, this is just Frederick for to send to a customer as a preview, how it will look like 3D previewed. If you really want to cut the shadow as well, for example, let's remove the shadow, add a shadow, effects, shadow, okay, not transparent, like so. Then we separate them. We copy the white circle and the shadow, like so, and we merge them together. We make then we center this, we group this, center it back, effects, arrange, contour cuts, effects, contour cuts, inside, okay, separate them and remove the white, like so. Now you have the cut contour inside, and you will also print a shadow. So if you want to print and cut out the shadow as well, first create the shadow, afterwards combine shadow and objects, combine them together, make a contour cut of it, and you can cut this as well. Are there any other questions? No, no. If you add shadow to a certain circle and you want to cut the shadow as well, then you don't have a perfect circle anymore. Okay, so I think we can, because we are already in overtime, I think, yes. So I think we can